Continuation of the text, expansion with advanced engagement techniques. 6. The science behind detachment, what neuroscience says about those who don't celebrate birthdays. Have you ever stopped to think that your brain might be wired to ignore dates? It's not frivolity or lack of gratitude, it's biology. Neuroscience studies reveal that people with a low emotional response to social events, such as birthdays, often have less activation in the prefrontal cortex, area linked to social reward. Translation: they don't feel the same high as other people when being celebrated. Higher levels of basal dopamine, that is, they do not depend on external stimuli to feel good. Effect: their happiness comes from within, not from congratulations or gifts. Selective episodic memory, remember experiences more than dates. Example: for them, what matters is not March 15th, but the trip they took in July. But be careful, this is not a disability. It's just a different way of processing time and emotions. In fact, researchers at Harvard University discovered that people like this tend to be more resilient after all. If you don't depend on external validation, frustrations hurt less. 7. The birthday paradox, why those who don't care about the date end up being more remembered. Here's a fascinating irony: those who don't make a point of celebrating often receive the most genuine tributes. Think about it. The person who demands a cake, a party, and 500 WhatsApp messages ends up creating obligations in others. Those who don't charge anything receive spontaneous gestures, a surprise coffee, a tight hug, a congratulations said looking into the eyes. It's the law of emotional scarcity: what is not forced becomes valuable. The most remarkable people are not those who ask for attention, but those who deserve it without having to ask for it. Phrase to highlight in bold or as an image on Instagram. 8. Your birthday as a mirror, what your relationship with this date reveals about you. Let's do a quick exercise. Answer mentally. Do you count the days until your birthday or forget until the week? Do you prefer big parties or an intimate dinner, or nothing? If someone forgets your date, are you hurt or relieved? Your answers reveal 3 pillars of your personality. Behavior, what it reveals, possible origin. Forget the date, emotional self-sufficiency, focus on the present. Childhood with little celebration or trauma. Prefers intimacy, values deep connections, not quantity. Experiences of loneliness or disappointment. Doesn't care about gifts, prioritizes experiences over objects, possible minimalism. Education that devalued the material. Hates being the center, fear of judgment or high empathy, does not want to bother others. Bullying or excessive demands in the past. Celebrate alone, extreme independence or need for self-care. Previous toxic relationships. Final reflection. Your birthday is not just a date, it is a map of your wounds and your strengths. And understand this. It is the most valuable gift you can receive. 9. How to turn not celebrating into a personal ritual, without social pressure. If you're one of those people who turns up your nose at cakes and candles, but still want to mark the passage of time in a meaningful way, here are 5 alternative rituals, tested by people who don't like parties either. 1. The year in review. Write down 3 lessons you learned in the last 12 months. Why it works: it turns the birthday into a growth checkpoint, not a performance. 2. The present for the future. Buy something symbolic, a book. A plant, a class, that will represent your next challenges. Example: a tree seedling to remember that growth takes time. 3. No day. Say no to something that no longer serves you, a habit, a toxic relationship, a limiting belief. Key quote: this year, my gift is to free myself from X. 4. The letter to yourself. Write a message as if it were for your 10-year-old self, or 10-year-old self. Effect: reconciliation with the past and commitment to the future. 5. The celebrated silence. Spend 1 hour in complete silence, no social media, no conversations, just noticing how you feel. Why, in a noisy world, the greatest luxury is to hear yourself. Bonus tip: if someone insists on congratulating you and you don't know how to react, try, "Thank you. This year, my gift is," insert your personal ritual. Do you want to be part of it? deflects pressure and invites the other person to a real connection. 10. The taboo nobody talks about, birthday and mourning. There is a subject that almost no one talks about, but that many people carry: how to deal with a birthday after losing someone important. If the date coincides with a loss. Some people avoid celebrating for years, as if joy were a betrayal. But the truth is, grief is not the absence of happiness, it is the presence of longing. Suggested ritual: light a candle and tell a funny story about the person who passed away. Laughing is also a way of loving. If the birthday reminds you of those who are no longer there, instead of erasing the date, redefine its meaning. Example: today is not just my birthday. It's the day that I celebrate everything this person taught me. Phrase to save: birthdays are not just about the day we were born, but about the lives that made us reborn. 11. What to do when others don't understand your way of celebrating, or not celebrating. If you've ever heard phrases like, "What do you mean, you're not going to do anything? How sad. You are very difficult, no one can stand you. It's just a cake, there's no need for this drama." No, the problem is not you. It is the inability of others to accept differences. 3 powerful responses to these situations, without fighting or justifying yourself. Review strategic response effect. How boring not to celebrate. For me, my whole life is a celebration. I don't need a specific day. It elevates the debate and leaves the critic without an argument. You're antisocial. I'm not antisocial, I just have a different way of connecting. Calmly dismantle the judgment. It's just a cake, relax. For you, it might just be a cake. For me, it's about what that cake represents. Reverses the pressure, makes the other person reflect. Remember, you don't need to convince anyone. Your peace is worth more than other people's approval. 12. Birthday as a metaphor for life, lessons from those who don't care about the date. If we remove social pressure and look at the birthday as a symbol, it can teach us profound lessons. 1. Life is not divided into special days and normal days. Every day is a chance to be reborn, not just on March 15th. 2. Happiness is not a performance. You don't need to fake joy just because it's your day. 3. The best celebrations are invisible. A breakfast in silence, a tight hug, a tear of gratitude. The extraordinary is often in the ordinary. 4. You don't owe anyone anything. Not a smile, not a party, not a post on Instagram. Final sentence, to close with impact. Maybe the secret is not to celebrate your birthday, but to live in a way that doesn't need excuses to be happy. 13. Emotional call to action, CTA that invites action without pressure. If you've made it this far, you've probably identified with some part of this text. And this is no coincidence. CIA, it's because you're part of a group that sees life beyond conventions. So, tell me, don't you care much about birthdays either? What does this date represent for you? Have you ever been in a situation where you felt judged for not celebrating? What alternative ritual do you create, or would you like to create, to mark your New Year's Eve? Leave them in the comments. I love reading your stories, and responding personally when possible. And if this text resonated with you, do this for me. 1. Save this post, to reread when you need to remember that your way of being is valid. 2. Share with someone who also doesn't like birthday parties. You're not alone. 3. Follow me, insert social network, for more reflections that go beyond the obvious. Because at the end of the day, the best celebration is this. Live in a way that doesn't need excuses. Until the next reflection. Yellow Heart. P.S. If you want me to develop a text about another social taboo, like why some people hate Christmas or the weight of being called antisocial, just ask in the comment. Continuation of the text, expansion with new layers and depth. But what if the problem isn't the birthday, it's what it represents? Think about it. When someone says I don't like celebrating my birthday, what are they really saying? It's not just about cake, candles or forced congratulations. It's about what this date carries with it, and, often, this weight is invisible to those who only see the party. Let's take this apart. 1. The birthday as a distorted mirror. For some people, this date is not a milestone of celebration, but a mirror that reflects everything that didn't happen. Each extinguished candle becomes a silent question. Why haven't I conquered X yet? Why doesn't my life look like other people's? What did I do with another year that passed? It's no wonder that many avoid celebrations. It's easier to ignore the mirror than to face the image it returns. And no, this isn't drama, it's self-preservation. The brain would rather avoid pain than face an inconvenient truth. 2. The pressure of should. Society teaches us that birthday should be synonymous with heavy checkmark joy, even if you are in a difficult year. Heavy checkmark gratitude, even if you don't feel it. Heavy checkmark party, even if you prefer silence. But what if you don't fit that script? Here comes the judgment. What do you mean, you don't want to celebrate? Are you depressed? It's just one day, there's no need to be so dramatic. You're really annoying, huh? Result: the person feels guilty for not feeling what they should feel and, ironically, this makes them hate the date even more. Have you ever experienced this? Tell us in the comments. You are not alone. 3. The happy birthday paradox. Here's an uncomfortable truth. To some people, happy birthday sounds like a lie. Not because they are ungrateful, but because happiness is not a permanent state, and forcing a smile on the obligatory day of happiness hurts. The date can be a reminder of losses, a loved one missing, a dream that didn't come true. They prefer authenticity to performativity, and a fake party is worse than none. Real example: a reader told me that, after losing her mother, her birthday became the day everyone hopes I'm okay, but all I think about is her. How to celebrate something that is also mourning? If this resonates with you, save this post. Sometimes we need to remember that our feelings are valid even if the world doesn't understand. 4. Birthday as a ritual of reinvention. Now, let's turn the key. What if, instead of ignoring the date, we transformed it? Some people who hate birthdays actually hate the traditional version of it, but create alternative rites that make sense to them. See some real examples from readers. I make a list of what I learned during the year. Instead of gifts, collect wisdom. I travel alone to a new place. The gift is the experience, not the obligation. I plant a tree, symbolizing growth, without social pressures. I spend the day in silence, without social media, to listen to yourself, not to others. The burning question. If you could reinvent your birthday from scratch, what would it be like? Reply in the comments. I love these answers. 5. Liberation from you have to. Here's the big thing. You don't have to like birthdays. You don't have to smile, post, party. The only rule is to have no rules except one. Be honest with yourself. If today is a day like any other, that's okay. If today is a day of reflection, that's okay. If today is a day to cry, that's okay too. Because, in the end, life is not measured in candles, but in how you live between one date and the next. What to do now? Step by step for those who want to change their relationship with their birthday. If you identify with it and want to turn this date into something meaningful, or simply stop feeling guilty about not liking it, here's a quick guide. 1. Ask yourself, what does this date represent for me? Celebration? Pressure? Homesickness? What do I really want to feel that day? Peace? Connection? Silence? 2. Create a personal, guilt-free ritual. It could be writing a letter to yourself, to be read next year. It could be watching a film that inspires you. It could be donating something you no longer use, symbolizing renewal. 3. Communicate your desires, without excuses. This year, I'm going to spend my birthday differently. Explain. Thank you for understanding. Tip: anyone who judges you for this does not deserve to be part of your celebration, or your life. 4. Allow yourself to feel anything. Sadness? Okay. Indifference? Okay. Happiness? Okay. The only mistake is pretending. For those who still think not calling birthdays is wrong. If you're reading this and thinking, but everyone likes it, why don't I? Here's a reminder. Normality is an illusion. There are people who love Christmas. There are people who cry. There are people who love selfies. There are people who shy away from them. There are people who celebrate their birthdays with parties. There are people who celebrate them with silence. You are not abnormal. You are you, and that's reason enough not to need excuses. The final invitation, and a gift for you. If this text made sense, here is what I propose. 1. Do an exercise today. Write on paper. My ideal birthday would be, no limits, no shoulds. Keep that. It could be the start of a new tradition. 2. Share this text with someone who also deviates from convention. You're not alone. And sometimes just knowing that is relieving. 3. Tell me. What was the most authentic birthday you've ever had? What would you abandon and what would you keep in your celebration? Comments are a safe space, I promise to read each one. Because, in the end, the best way to celebrate life is live it at your own pace. Until the next reflection, and may your next year be exactly the way you need it to be. Seedling. P.S. If you want me to develop a text about why some people hate New Year's Eve and prefer to go to bed early, the weight of being called antisocial when you're just selective, how to deal with family members who insist on celebrating their way, just ask in the comments. I read everything and choose the most voted topics. White down pointing backhand index. Birthday as a mirror, what your celebration, or lack thereof, reveals about you. Have you ever stopped to think that the way you deal with your birthday is an emotional map? It's not just about cake or balloons, it's about how you relate to time, to others, and, most of all, to yourself. There are those who turn the date into a spectacle of gratitude, photos, posts, parties that last for days. There are those who prefer a silent dinner with 3 loved ones. And there are those who simply forget it's their birthday until Google sends that reminder. Nuisance. But here's the question few ask. What does this choice say about what you truly value? 1. Birthday as a ritual of self-knowledge. Think about it. No other date on the calendar is as personal as this one. It's not Christmas, it's not New Year's Eve, it's the day the universe decided that you would exist. And yet, many people treat it as a burden, a social obligation, or worse, a painful memory. Why? Because a birthday is the cruelest, and most honest, mirror there is. He reflects your expectations, what you thought life would be like at 30, at 40, and what it actually is. Your fears, am I where I should be? Do I deserve to be celebrated? Your wounds, who was absent, who hurt you, what you lost along the way. Radical exercise, do it now, mentally. If you could erase every birthday you've ever had and reinvent just one, what would it be like? The answer will show you what your soul is asking for and that you, perhaps, have ignored. 2. The 3 types of people and what their birthday reveals. Which one are you? A. The unconditional festive. The more people, the more love. What it reveals, you feed your self-esteem with connections. You need to feel like you matter, and your birthday is social proof of that. Hidden risk, dependence on external validation. Ask yourself, if no one comes, am I still special? Challenge, learn to celebrate alone, without an audience. Because the most important party is the one that happens inside you. B. The selective minimalist. Just who I love, no frills. What it reveals, you value depth over quantity. He is not against celebrations, but he hates performatism. Hidden risk, using selectivity as a shield. Sometimes the only one I love hides the fear of not being loved enough. Challenge, allow yourself to receive even if it is from people who are not on your official team. Love is not just for the chosen ones. See the invisible. I don't like attracting attention. I prefer it to go unnoticed. What it reveals, you associate visibility with vulnerability. Maybe you learned that being seen hurts, due to disappointments, traumas, or unprocessed loneliness. Hidden risk, erasing yourself even for yourself. Your birthday becomes another day of forced silence, as if you don't deserve to take up space. Challenge, celebrate in secret. Buy a gift for yourself. Write a letter thanking yourself for being alive. Because existing is reason enough. 3. The birthday paradox. Why does it hurt so much? Here is the naked truth. Birthday is not about the past. It's about the present that you are not living as you would like. If you hate celebrating, ask yourself, what am I avoiding facing? If you go overboard at the party, you ask yourself, What am I trying to prove? If you forget the date, you ask yourself, why do I feel so unimportant? Birthday is an emotional thermometer. If it hurts, it's not the date's fault, it's because something in you is crying out for attention. 4. How to turn your birthday into an act of positive rebellion. How about breaking the rules you created yourself? Here are some ideas for reinventing the date without guilt, without masks. For those who hate parties, have an anti-birthday, travel alone, watch a movie that no one else likes, buy something you've always wanted, even if it doesn't make sense. Create a gratitude ritual. Write down 10 things you did for yourself that year. Yes, you deserve credit. For those who love parties but feel empty afterwards, exchange gifts for experiences. Ask guests, instead of bringing something, to share a memory they have with you. Store in a pot. Include a moment of purposeful solitude. Before or after the party, spend 30 minutes alone, without your cell phone. Ask, what do I really want for next year? For those who ignore the date, schedule something just for you. It could be a coffee in a new place, a class on something you've always wanted to learn, or even a day of nothing but with intention. Send a message to yourself. Write as if you were congratulating a dear friend. Read it out loud. Cry if you need to. 5. The question that will change your next birthday. Here's the secret no one tells you. A birthday is not about celebrating the day you were born. It's about celebrating the fact that you're still here, despite everything. So the question that really matters is, if this was my last birthday, how would I have liked to have spent it? The answer doesn't have to be epic. Could it be eating my favorite dish without guilt? Saying I love you to those who matter? Finally starting that project I've been putting off for years? What you can't do is spend another year on autopilot, repeating patterns that don't serve you. 6. An invitation and a challenge. If this text touched you, here is what I propose. 1. Take the mirror test. Look in the mirror and say, congratulations on being here. Thank you for not giving up. Write down how you felt. This is your starting point. 2. Break a rule. If you always party, get tired of it and do something just for yourself. If you always ignore it, mark something even if it's small. If you always follow other people's scripts, invent a new tradition. 3. Share your revolution. Tell us in the comments. When was the time my birthday surprised me, for better or for worse? What would I leave and what would I keep in my ideal celebration? This space is free of judgment. There are only people here who are also rethinking their dates. 7. Because, in the end, life isn't about dates, it's about choices. Birthday is just one day. What you do with it is what defines everything. If you choose to celebrate, let it be out of genuine joy, not out of obligation. If you choose to ignore, let it be out of inner peace, not out of fear. If you choose to reinvent, let it be out of courage, not out of escape. The best way to celebrate life. Living it as if each day were a birthday, with intention, gratitude, and, most of all, freedom. Until the next reflection, and may your next year be exactly the way you need it, not the way they expect of you. Herb. P.S. If you want me to develop a text about why some people cry on their birthday, and how to turn that pain into power, the weight of being the eternal bachelor in family celebrations, and how to deal with it without exploding, how to create celebration rituals that make sense to you even if no one understands, just ask in the comments. I read each one and choose the most requested topics. Write down pointing backhand index. And if this text made you rethink something, share it with those who also need this reflection. Sometimes, we don't know that we are not alone until someone shows us the way.